He erupted onto the scene, a force of nature fueled by indignation and a sense of urgency. Former President Donald Trump, never one to shy away from controversy, roared his demand for justice, his voice echoing through the crowd. "Release Tina Peters," he boomed, a woman he declared a victim of political persecution, a pawn in a larger game. The air crackled with tension, every word he spoke adding fuel to the fire. This was not just about one woman, not anymore. It was a rallying cry for a movement. This was about the very soul of America, about the sanctity of elections, or so he claimed. The nation braced itself for what was to come. This was about to get messy, a clash of ideologies and beliefs. Peters, a former Colorado County clerk, had been found guilty. Tampering with voting machines, a serious offense. Permitting unauthorized access to sensitive election software, compromising the integrity of the process. These were the accusations, the crimes that landed her in the crosshairs of the law, drawing national attention. But to Trump and his loyal followers, she was no criminal. She was a symbol of resistance. She was a martyr, a symbol of a system rigged against them, a beacon of their cause. The demand echoed through the corridors of power, a challenge to the very fabric of American justice, a call to arms. It was a line drawn in the sand, a declaration of war against what Trump and his allies perceived as a deep-seated conspiracy, a fight for their version of truth. The message was clear. This was not over. The battle lines were drawn. This was just the beginning, a prelude to a larger conflict. The nation watched, captivated and appalled as the drama unfolded, each side digging in deeper. On one side, a former president with a penchant for hyperbole and a loyal base clinging to his every word, unwavering in their support. On the other, a legal system grappling with the weight of accusations and the shadow of doubt cast upon it, striving to maintain order. The stakes were high, the tension palpable, the outcome uncertain. This was about more than just Tina Peters. It was a battle for the nation's future. This was about the future of American democracy itself, a test of its resilience and strength. Tina Peters, a name whispered in hushed tones by some, declared with fervent admiration by others. She was the elected clerk of Mesa County, Colorado, entrusted with the sacred duty of safeguarding the electoral process. But in the aftermath of the tumultuous 2020 presidential election, her name became synonymous with controversy. Peters, a staunch supporter of Donald Trump, publicly questioned the legitimacy of the election results. Fueled by conspiracy theories and unsubstantiated claims of widespread voter fraud, she allegedly took matters into her own hands. Authorities accused her of tampering with voting machines, of allowing unauthorized access to sensitive election data. The allegations were damning and far-reaching. They painted a picture of a public official so blinded by partisan allegiance that she was willing to betray her oath and undermine the very foundations of democracy. The evidence seemed irrefutable security footage, witness testimonies, and digital footprints that pointed to a deliberate attempt to subvert the electoral process. Her actions sent shockwaves through Colorado and beyond, shaking the public's faith in the integrity of elections. The very process that underpinned American democracy, the peaceful transfer of power, had been compromised, or so it seemed. The question on everyone's mind was simple yet chilling. If it could happen in Mesa County, could it happen anywhere? The implications were profound and unsettling. The words exploded from Trump's mouth with characteristic force, pronouncements delivered with unshakable certainty, as if he were the sole arbiter of truth. "A witch hunt!" he thundered, his voice dripping with disdain and righteous indignation. Tina Peters, he declared, was a victim, a pawn sacrificed on the altar of political expediency, a martyr in the battle for justice. The charges against her? Fabricated, trumped up, a desperate attempt to silence dissent and crush anyone who dared question the sanctity of the 2020 election, he insisted. His claims, delivered with the conviction of a seasoned showman, resonated deeply with his loyal base, who saw him as their unwavering leader. They had heard it all before, the relentless drumbeat of accusations, the allegations of a stolen election, the deep-seated belief that the system was rigged against them, a narrative they clung to. Trump, their champion, their voice, was once again fighting back against the forces that sought to silence them, a beacon of defiance. But beyond the fervent rhetoric and passionate pronouncements, a cold reality remained, stark and unyielding. Trump's claims, while delivered with unwavering conviction, lacked any credible evidence, a fact that could not be ignored. The courts, including judges appointed by Trump himself, had consistently rejected his allegations of widespread voter fraud, a testament to the strength of the judicial system. The Department of Justice, under his own administration, found no evidence of irregularities that could have swayed the election, a conclusion that was clear and definitive. Yet the seeds of doubt had been sown, taking root in fertile ground. Trump's words, amplified by a right-wing media ecosystem eager to echo his pronouncements, took root in the minds of millions, spreading like wildfire. The line between fact and fiction blurred, eroded by a constant barrage of misinformation and outright falsehoods, creating a murky reality. The truth, it seemed, was no longer relevant, overshadowed by the power of belief. What mattered was the narrative, the story, the belief that they, the true Americans, had been cheated, a sentiment that fueled their fervor. And Tina Peters, whether guilty or innocent in the eyes of the law, had become a potent symbol of their struggle, a rallying cry for their cause. Defending the prosecution in this high-stakes case was no easy feat. The legal team had to navigate through a labyrinth of evidence, public opinion, and political pressure. They meticulously built their case, piece by piece, ensuring every argument was airtight. It was a challenging journey, but one they were committed to seeing through to the end. The political and legal fallout from the case was, well, significant. Leaders from all sides weighed in, each with their own perspective and agenda. Laws were scrutinized, policies were questioned, and the public's trust in the system was tested. It was a period of intense debate and reflection, as the nation grappled with the implications of the verdict. The case also highlighted a potential threat to democracy itself. When the integrity of the legal system is called into question, it shakes the very foundation of democratic principles. The balance of power, the rule of law, and the rights of individuals came under intense scrutiny. It was a stark reminder of the fragility of the institutions we often take for granted. The impact of the case lingered long after the final gavel fell. It influenced future legal proceedings, shaped public policy, and left an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. People continued to discuss, debate, and learn from it, ensuring that its lessons were not forgotten. The case became a touchstone for change, a catalyst for ongoing dialogue about justice and fairness in our society.